there was an air function. Something happened. I'm sorry, an air system malfunction, right? I think the air probably was with the brakes. I'm pretty
I
sure.
think, yeah,
Yep.
if I remember, it's air brakes, but
Yeah,
I'm not a
and I'm
mechanic, so
thinking like that's if it's air brakes, 45,000 pound big truck, fairly
you
important,
want
right?
to check.
Better check that, right?
Yeah, you want to check, definitely.
So Billy, being the pro that he is, gets out, takes a look at it, identifies where it's going on, has the equipment on site, says, you know what, it take me 5 minutes to make this, but I guess truckers have a version of, roadside assistance they could call. He says, no need for that. It'll take them hours to get here. He was in a
He's in the middle of nowhere.
Manatee National Forest, right? Gets out. All right, so here's the second reason why I believe this guy, right? And I got several reasons here. Second reason, it wasn't pitch black out. This ain't 2 o'clock in the morning, Jay. This ain't freaking, 5 a.m., 4
Right.
a.m.
This
It
is
is
like 3 in the
7.
afternoon.
It's between 7 and 8 p.m. It is daylight, son, in June. Sun don't go down till 9, right?
Mm-mm.
What's that? Saying
No,
that?
you're right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sun's up, right? So he's down in there. He's in my mind's eye, he's just in the middle of the truck fixing the air brakes, however you do it. And he says that he's noticing some shadowing. Now, I've been in the woods a lot. You've been in the woods a lot. Anybody that's been in the woods a lot, when a big animal
When the
or
shadows start moving,
yeah,
you
exactly,
need to
man.
look around.
Yeah, so when someone's moving, rustling, the light will alert you, and you can tell, right? So I instantly knew especially if you're hunting, right, like you or doing whatever. So he says he's starting to notice some shadowing, and this shadowing to him, he says, was fairly large to the point where he actually thought it might be a bear, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay. So he's like, all right, and then here's the third reason why I believe him, because the terminology that he used, saying shadowing, makes me believe him. But he also says he says the next thing. He says, I start to get an uneasy feeling, right? And this guy is a hunter. He's no stranger to the woods, right? He's been on hunting trips before, and I've been in the woods before, walking in the woods, and 3 miles, 4 miles, and I'll go through a certain patch of the forest, and it gives me the creeps, right? And so you know what I'm talking about, Georgia boy, right? So you just go through certain parts of the forest, and it just gives you the creeps, right? So
Yep.
he says he's sitting there working out, getting his stuff together, starts getting the creeps. And on top of the shadowing, he's thinking it's a bear. And that's the last place you want to be is I don't know if they have grizzlies up there, but a big ass black bear, having to deal with that or whatever.
Doesn't matter. It's a giant wild animal.
Exactly right. Right.
Time to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to
Right?
go. So it took him about 5 minutes to make this repair. He gets into his truck, tests it, does the testing it has to do, everything seems good. Puts it in gear, J, and takes off. Now he's not driving a Toyota Supra, right? Like, this is a truck with a load on it, and then
Right. It's a rig.
it's a rig, and you got to pull it, right? So he starts to get moving, and he's going. Looks out his window, and he sees it. I'm sorry, he looks out his side view mirror to his passengers. From the story I got, it was on the passenger side, right? So he's driving, looks to his right, sees it, and he sees it, and it's coming. And that's when he was like, okay, that's not a bear, right? And so he gets on the gas a little bit, trying to get away from it. And he says that he got up to about 25 miles per hour, and it was on him. And this is where it gets.
So it was gaining.
It had him. And wait till you hear this,
Oh,
right?
it was already up there.
It was on it, right?
Okay.
He said he's checked his mirror again. It's closed the distance. Looks one more time, and the damn thing's head is in the window. And he said that it was looking down. And so he estimated that his rig was 9 feet tall, that this thing had to have been at least 10.5 feet tall. And his head was the size of the steering wheel. Yeah, so to the side. Imagine something coming from the side and looking through, right? He saw its head. His head was the size of a grizzly bear, which is massive, which is about 2 times the size of a steering. Took up the whole damn window, right? So basically,
Okay.
And here is the fourth thing that he says that makes me believe his story, that makes it believable, right? That's when he says time slowed down. And that's when he in stressful situations, people focus on odd details, right? Just like odd details, right?
Things imprint in your brain.
Right.
During that kind of stressful situation.
And he
weird
said
thing.
Weird things, right? So he said that he said this thing had a mane on it like a lion. From the forehead back, it had a jet black lion's mane, right? That's when I watched this thing, that was one of the first things he talked about. It wasn't that, oh shit, there's a daggone werewolf trying to get in my cab. This thing had a lion's mane on it, right? And then he goes into the detail to talk about it. He said it was jet black, very white teeth, super white teeth, yellow eyes with black irises, black pupils, I guess, and hands like a human. But the hands were the size of the steering wheel, right? His hands were massive. Hands like a human with about 3-inch claws coming off of them. And it had teeth that looked about 3 inches as well. It didn't really go into any detail. The thing wasn't like a ravaging beast either.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.